Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got the tank review for the brand new Tier 8 British Premium Heavy tank, the Charlemagne. Now this is a tank that is a heavy hitter, but its gun has some pretty poor characteristics for it. It's okay. Initial impressions is okay, but there's stuff that lets it down that I just wish that was better, and the stuff that doesn't make sense as well. And we'll get into that when we get to it. But on the whole, I thought it was okay. The armour is reasonable here and there. It's more trolled than truly reliable. The gun it's a slugger. It hits so hard, but the problem is its gun's not got the best shell velocity in the world. Let's say the best. It's got a pretty damn awful shell velocity, and its accuracy is pretty poor. But that goes with the slugger aspect of it. So let's get into the stats. Well, it's got 220 standard pen on its AP. And 270 premium pen on its premium AP. Yes, it has 2 rounds of AP, not APCR. It will say in-game that it's APCR, as in when you're actually in the battle, but it's not its AP. It's just a glitch or bug that they've never fixed with 6.0, where it says if you've got 2 rounds of AP, it for some reason says AP and APCR. But yeah, it's got 270 pen on its AP, its premium AP. Now that is great. 270 AP pen for the premium is fantastic. That means you'll pen pretty much everything you'll face, which is great. You won't really have any problems with that. The 220 is good enough, although with the derpy nature of the gun, it can be a little bit frustrating because the way it hits plates, that 220 might struggle to go in at times. But it is a very close range brawler. It's not good at range, because the shell velocity on this is like 597. We'll see when we get to the garage part. But for some reason, the shell velocity on the premium round is like 950 meters a second. Why? I don't know. It's random. If you want to do it the other way around, where you get the standard velocity being better with the 220, but if you want to have better penetration, you can load the AP, premium AP, but at the loss of the velocity, you know? That's the way you could do it. But it just doesn't make sense to me. 440 alpha damage, again, is very high for the tier. Generally, there's not many tanks at the tier that do have that alpha, and generally they do have, obviously, derpier guns. Thinking of, like, the Inferno or the Defender, you know, they have derpy guns, but they hit hard, and it is a slugger. It is very, very satisfying to slap people about with this gun. It hits very, very hard, and it's very, very nice. You hit people, and then you roll for like 460, 470. I've even rolled for 503 with this gun. It's beautiful. Obviously, you can low roll below 400, but I mean, at the end of the day, if you're low rolling for 400, you're still slapping hard at tier 8. It's got 1,500 hit points, which is about average, I think, for tier 8, really. It's all right. You get, what, 4 shot by tier 10s with 400 alpha? Yeah, it's all right. 35 kilometers an hour, it is a little bit slow. It does get up to its top speed pretty decently, but it is a little bit slow. You do feel that it's not got the pace at times to keep up with how quick battles can go. So just bear in mind that it is a little bit slower, but I mean, 35 isn't bad for a heavy tank by any means. It's just not good, you know. It's in that range of, yeah, it's not bad, but at the same time, it's also, like, not great. It just sort of dawdles its way to positions and then does well from those sort of positions if you can get there. 380 meters view range is also pretty damn decent for a tier 8. 380 meters view range for a tier 8 is what I'd probably say is about average, because most tanks generally have between 370 and 390 at the tier. 380 is about average. That's all right. With coated optics, situational awareness, brothers in arms, well, it's ball leader now, and food, you can get that way above 445. You can get that to about 470, I think it was, something like that. It's really good. That's fine. Camo doesn't really matter because it's a heavy tank. The rate of fire, 3.59. It's very slow. It's very, very slow. 16.7 seconds base reload. You do feel how slow it reloads. If it had like an extra second or 2 off the reload, it might be a little bit nicer. But my goodness gracious me, does it feel slow. There's a lot of situations where it's like I fired and then you pull back and you're like, oh, come on, please get the shell back in. Please get it back in. You don't want to go in on a tank that you know has better DPM than you, because it will wreck you. And the one thing is, if you're facing this tank, quite easily. If this thing fires and hits you, you'll probably get, at the tier, you'll probably get 2 to 3 shots in before it fires again. So make the most of its reload, essentially. And for you playing this tank, yeah, that is it's slow. Another thing that's bad, 3.5 second aim time is pretty horrific. But it seems to have decent dispersions, which is the hidden values, because when you're going at full speed and you're driving, it never seems to bloom that much. So the 3.5 aim time doesn't feel that bad compared to how you think it might. But it is still a bad aim time for the tank. It does make you consider a GLD, but yeah, there's other factors like the poor 0.44 accuracy that this tank has, which is awful. And you'll need, you know, all the gun stats, gun perks, I should say, and vert stabs to make that better. We'll see when we get into the garage bit. 10 degrees of gun depression is absolutely fantastic. It's great to have 10 degrees of gun depression. It means you're so flexible on a ridgeline, and it's wonderful. And that's really where you want to be having the Charlemagne as well. So it's got 170 turret armor, 80 on the side, and 70 on the rear. Let's go take a look. Now, this is the armor model for the Charlemagne on Tanks GG. Now, the armor model for the Charlemagne on PC is exactly the same as it is on console. So before anyone says using a PC website for a console tank, it's exactly the same. So it's the best thing to use. So, look at the armor. 220 effective if you head on, 218. It's not bad for an upper plate, but it's not really that good considering a lot of the tanks at the tier tend to have 220, 230 pen, and they will butter it up. Now, when you're shooting at this tank, beware, because this lower plate is actually a fake. If you're going to shoot this tank, you want to shoot it in the upper plate. You don't want to shoot the lower plate, because look at this. On a flat, it's only 218, 19 on the upper, but on the lower plate, it's 230, just because of the angle. So that's actually a bait. So most people might shoot the lower plate and then start ricocheting and thinking, what? It's really, they want to be shooting the upper plate. Now, obviously, it has got a pike nose, so it does get slightly worse when you angle, but it is what it is. It is a pike nose. It can side scrape, as you see here. It can do quite well up into a certain angle, and that's really, really nice about the tank. You can ricochet some shots off your side armor, which does happen, and you sit there going, oh, that was nice. Okay, I didn't expect to bounce that, but you do. The thing you've got to be careful of when you're side scraping is this turret front, because if that little cheek here pokes around that corner, which it might do if you overexpose too much, it can catch, and you can get pen. And obviously, you've seen here, 190 pen. Most tier 8s are going to pen that. But the turret front is actually pretty nice. If you're going to shoot it, shoot just to the left, but mainly just to the right of the gun or underneath it, because you will bounce. You've just got to avoid this gun mantlet, which is absolutely fantastic if you've seen the armor here. It's going to be pretty much a non-pen no matter where you shoot that gun mantlet. The upper turret as well is also a ricochet angle, so most of the time, most people will not pen this. Even tier 10s will struggle when you are hull down to pen this. It does have a cupola though, so you just got to be careful of that cupola. But if you're using the full 10 degrees of gun depression for this tank, like this look, they're going to struggle. You might catch this is where you've got to keep wiggling, okay? And I say it's troll, because they can pen you, and I have been penned when I've been hull down, by them just catching the turret cheek here, or just above the gun. But if you keep wiggling and you keep moving, they're going to ricochet off of the angles of the turret, and they're never penning your upper plate. So hull down is where this tank wants to be. It wants to be hull down and up close and personal because of the gun, pretty much. So, yeah, I mean, the Charlemagne, it's got 750 horsepower as well, with 16.67 horsepower per ton. Like I say, the horsepower per ton, the top speed, it hits it, but it is a little bit sluggish in getting there. The 15 kilometers an hour reverse speed isn't too bad either. 26 degrees a second track traverse is reasonable. It's not the slowest, but it's not the fastest. It's all right. And with terrain resistances like that, if you have off-road driving, it will make it better, and it means that you will make the most of this horsepower per ton. So yeah, the Charlemagne's pretty decent, and with the magic of OBS, we are now going to switch to the garage, where we are here with the Charlemagne, and it's a weird looking tank. I don't know, when you are playing it especially, it feels like it's really small. It's not quite what you expect from a heavy tank. Sometimes it feels like it should be a little bit bigger than it is, but it's not. But yeah, I mean, I've kind of enjoyed I have enjoyed my playthrough of the tank. There's just things that are frustrating about it, like the shell velocity, like the accuracy. And just how that little bit of slowness in it and having only the 35km/h top speed kind of lets the tank down a little bit. But like I say, it's not a bad looking tank. It's not an ugly thing. It's just, it's a bit of an odd one. I don't know, it's kind of, the turret is kind of Conqueror-ish. And I don't really know what to equate the hull to, but yeah. Let's have a look at what we set out though. So in equipment terms, I have a rammer, vert stabs, optics. Optics because you want to get the best view range you can out of it. You don't want to be out-spotted. And if you can keep yourself spotting the enemy team, you won't get out-spotted yourself. You can keep dishing out the damage, and you're going to have less time where you're just spotted up by... Because, I mean, look at the concealment, right? It's still concealment 388. You're going to get spotted no matter what. So you want to be spotting stuff that's going to be spotting you. Vert stabs because you want to be 20% more accurate. You really, really want to be 20% more accurate. Trust me on that. And a rammer because you want to make the DPM as best you can on this tank. It's just... It's what you need. In terms of ammo, that's what I load, 30, 25, and 5. A lot of it is because, as you see in here, look, 597 meters shell velocity on its AP round, on its standard. You switch to premium, though, and it's the same round. It's not even APCR, it's AP again, premium AP. It gets 270 pen, but it gets 924 meters a second shell velocity, which... blows my mind. I don't know why it's more than the standard AP. It doesn't make sense to me, but it is what it is. The premium AP is actually pretty nice to use. I can see a lot of people when they do get this tank, if they are a premium scrub, just deciding, you know, I'm going to load full gold because it will make this tank... It does make the tank so much nicer to play, so much more bearable, because at distance, that AP standard round is just not good enough. That premium round is good enough. It's still not great with the shell velocity at 924, but it's better. And to be honest, actually, rather than having more pen, if you're going to play this tank up close and personal, that AP round, the standard AP for 220 pen with 597 meters a second shell velocity, is going to be good enough at short range. But when you're starting to have to fire over distance, say you're at Prokhorovka and you're on the ridge line, which is where you might want to be on this tank, and you're having to shoot 400 meters into the distance at the camping TD in the bush or the tanks that are moving across the open, you're better to load the premium AP and have the better shell velocity so you have better chance of hitting them at that distance. Note that it's 60mm of penetration on the HE, which isn't actually that bad. I wish it had... It would be pretty cool if it had HESH and had like 100mm pen or something like that, just as a special gimmick, but it doesn't. 530 damage on its HE round as well, with nearly 600 meters a second shell velocity. It's usable when you're fighting it, you know, you're fighting against lowly armoured tanks. Yeah, it's a decent HE round. So here's the other stats of what I've got it down to. Now, if you were to run the stuff that I've got, you've got a 0.39 accuracy, 3.36 aim time. 3.9 accuracy is not bad. That's pretty good for what you get it down to, and that's disregarding that. That's not including what food will get it to, pretty much. 3.36 on its aim time. If I was to say drop the vert stabs and add a gun laying drive, which I wouldn't recommend, it really needs the vert stabs, but let's have a look at what that does. So get it down to below 3 seconds. So realistically, if you decided, you know what, this thing reloads slow anyway, I'm just not going to run a rammer, which I could never recommend, you want to keep the rammer, then you could run a GLD and you get below 3 second aim time, which is definitely nice. In terms of the commander that I run on this tank, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Steady Aim, Run and Gun, Track Mechanic, Off-Road Driving, and Snapshot. All of the gun perks to make this tank as accurate as it can be, because it's absolutely horrendous if you don't run those stuff and the vert stabs. Situational Awareness, because you want to have the best view range you can have. Rapid Reload, make your DPM 10% better as well, is exactly what you need. Off-road driving, because you want to be able to help it with its power to weight and just get up to that top speed, because it is slow with 35 kilometers an hour top speed, but if you were to run the off-road driving and have that on, it'll help it just give it that little extra oomph to be able to keep that top speed no matter what you're doing. So yeah, I mean, the Charlemagne is not a bad tank by any means. It has a lot of drawbacks, which I suppose makes it a bit more balanced. But the drawbacks are annoying, like the shell velocity. Like I say, I wish it was the other way around with the standard AP and premium AP, but it is what it is. So, yeah, I'm going to send you over to the replays now, where you're going to get a quadruple helping of gameplay to let you have a look at how it handles. Enjoy yourselves, and yeah, it's that point where you can watch it and go, this guy's talking a load of crap, it doesn't look good, I'm not touching that, or yeah, I think he might be right about this, it looks pretty decent. I think it's alright, it's not bad. Is it worth the gold? Well, they'll probably give it away in 6 months' time, who knows. It's one of those things with premium tanks these days. So, enjoy the replays, everybody. So here we are in the replays, and the first game that we're going to have in the Charlemagne is on Lakeville. Now, knowing that this tank is pretty good hull down, there's only one place I really want to go, and that is to the Valley. Now, the Valley is one of those places where you can win or lose a game by going here, because sometimes you can take too long to win the Valley, and then they storm through the town and come up behind you. And other times, you can go here, and it takes you just, generally, even if there's not many tanks here, it takes you so long to get through it and get to the other side that, well, you've lost most of the game anyway, and most of your team have died in the town. But if you're in a tank that is very good hull down, well, it's a corridor fight. So if you're a good hull down tank, this is where you want to be, because you can get hull down, you can use your turret armour, you can stay safe, and as this gun does, you can slug. As you see, we're slap a round in for 407 into that IS-5. That's a low roll, by the way. And now you're seeing just the reload's just a little bit slow. We've got it fully maxed out at 10.8 with a food boost, which is pretty nice with the food boost, but you don't always have it boosted with food, so it's just a little bit slow. Like I say, if it was like an extra second, it might feel a bit nicer, but it is what it is. Actually, it's 11.8 seconds. I imagine that might have been food doing its magic. But yeah, it's just slow. Now, you saw the derpiness of the gun there. We had it pretty much aimed on that guy, but it just missed. This round panzer comes all the way over. Derpiness of the gun, again, pretty much fully aimed on that guy's cupola, and it flies just to the right of it and misses. Now, what this round panzer is doing, I don't know. He's just throwing his whole tank away, but we're just going to ignore him for now, and we're going to get a big shot into the Glory IS-5 there. Now, the IS-5 actually shot us and didn't pen us because he hit the gun mantlet, broke the gun, but didn't do any damage. Now we're going to pop up because we've got a 120mm gun. I know I can quite easily, with the pen and that, go through that very unangled. It was not very well angled at all from that T28 prop. But we get a nice shot into his side and it slugs straight in. We're up to 1600 damage now. We've only managed 4 shots, but 1600 damage. The T20 gets shut down. We get a nice shot into the side of the mutant's turret, who wasn't quite looking at us, and this is the name of the game. We're just punching these shots into the enemy tanks, pulling back, staying safe, and like I say, just keeping the damage rolling. Now we end up trying to go through the upper plate of the Glory IS-5 there, but end up hitting the gun. Derpy gun handling again, letting us down a little bit, but because of the way that that Glory is currently sitting, we could have actually got a shot through his upper plate because it made it less angled for us to go through. But we actually had his engine deck as well, so we went straight through that. It looked like we possibly overmatched it, I don't know, but we went through it. We go for the drive wheel of the mutant there. We end up penning it, tracking it again. 504 damage. Oh, you don't get tired of seeing those kind of numbers at tier 8 when they pop up. Like I say, it slugs. It slugs. And now this mutant's pulling back. We've got the caliber to go through that guy's cupola. We've got the penetration at 220, easy enough, and we finish him off for his 400 hit points. Not many tanks at tier 8 are going to be guaranteed finishing a tank that's on 400 hit points. Now we get a nice shot straight through the SU-130PM there. Pull back a little bit because I expected him to repair and possibly pull forward, but the Shashka gets destroyed. And now we're just going to go in on this ISM. He gets tracked in place. We're waiting for the reload, make sure, get the shot straight into his back, and now there's only artillery left. We're up to 3.9k damage, which is a really nice game for the tank. We've blocked 780 damage. I feel like we blocked a little bit more than that. It's possibly just stuff getting ricocheted or absorbed by the gun. But you can see what it could do hull down. We managed to bounce a few shots, and as long as they kept giving us free shots, we managed to keep pumping them in and getting high damage. So we ended up with 1644 base XP, the first class, like I say, 3.9k damage and 3 kills. A really nice game for the Charlemagne. And yeah, the thing is with this tank is if people have good DPM and they focus on you, it can end quite quickly, unfortunately, because, like I said, the reload on this tank is poor. Very, very poor. And if a tank comes along and it's got like a 5-second reload, a 6-second reload, it'll just wreck your days so fast. And because of the derpy gun handling, you have to make sure you hit your shells. Because with 0.44 accuracy, or down to 0.39 with the setup we've got, yeah, it lets it down a lot. And the amount of times that you have a shot that's maybe an easy shot into someone's side and it just hits tracks and doesn't do anything, it happens a lot. And firing at distance as well, this tank is just a pain. Now, obviously, that Lakeville game was... Really, it was the dream, because, number one, we could pen everything we were facing with 220 pen. It doesn't really matter, because we could have loaded 270 pen and still pen most tanks that we would have faced there if there were tier 10s and that. It depends on what the weak spots are, and whether they're a god hull down, say, Valor versus Chieftain with Capolas and that sort of thing. But... Yeah, that Lakeville game was really the dream, because we got to be hull down. The tanks didn't really focus us that much, and we just kept being able to pull back behind the ridgeline, stay safe, reload, wait for it to get the shell in, pull forward, drop the shell in, pull back, rinse, repeat. It's what the Charlemagne was doing. So now we're on this second game, we're on Thankyou Ridge, and we're actually bottom tier. Now... This is why I wanted it. Oh, that patch at 12T, oh dear. Anyway, yeah, so I wanted this replay in because it's tier 10 game. It kind of shows what you can do, really, against tier 10s and how effective you feel. Because you see, that shot on that E5, by the way, did you watch the way that shell looped in? Yeah, you get used to that. 408 damage to that E5. We hurt him quite a lot. And you really do feel like you can trade quite effectively. Because you just slug rounds, absolutely slug them in. Now you see there, I couldn't actually see, this is the thing with the shell velocity, right? I could not see that Jagdtiger. And I just wanted to try it. Because from where I was sat, I couldn't aim at him. But I auto-aimed, I managed to loop the shell over the ridgeline. Because the shell velocity is just that bad, I can actually loop shells over ridgelines with auto-aim. Yeah, it is what it is. We get a nice shot into the E5 again. Like I say, you're not hitting them for inconsequential amounts. You're hitting them for a good slug of their hit points. I mean, that's another over 400 damage hit for that E5 in his side. We're going to get a shot into the AMX-65T, or try to at least. We ended up ricocheting off the front of his turret, which is unfortunate. So we did have most of his side and his side turret there. But we're in a great position here on Thankyou. If you can get to this little hill and not be pressured too much... You can take the fight to the enemy team so well. You can really, really hurt them. So now that that 65T is caught out, we get a shot into him. Did you see how slow that shell velocity was? When you fired, it just loops and it's like, whee! Got him. And now we're going for the long-range shot on the Tusk. Thankfully, he drives in a straight line and we watch that shell go, whee! And finish the Tusk off. Now we're going to get some shots into this VK4502A. We get a nice shot into his lower plate for 398. Like I say, when you're low rolling for 400, it's so satisfying. I mean, obviously, low rolling is low rolling, right? It's not satisfying to low roll. But when you are thinking that a 400 is a low roll, it's pretty nice. Now, artillery tries to take a swing at us. Fortunately enough, he misses. We're just going to wait for the aim time to go in. And we put a shot straight into his lower plate. I think that guy was hidden behind the house, which was keeping him safe from the guys on his left, but was not keeping him safe from me. Now, we've got the Griller in front. We're trying to see if we can get a shot at him anyway. Going to try and loop the shell in, but unfortunately we don't quite get it. And we're going to load HE. Now, this is a risky bit of driving. That could have ended very badly. Don't do that. Just carry on driving down the left-hand side where it's really safe. Don't be me. Don't do my driving, because it doesn't end well 3/4 of the time. I'm quite surprised it didn't blow up there. Now, with the 60 pen on this HE, I'm quite confident of penning this Griller, and I want to see what I can... To be honest, the reason I've got this HE in is because I want to see what I can do when I pen this HE round into, you know, the tanks like a Griller. Because it's going to hurt them, right? It's a 120mm gun. It's got 530 alpha. Slap that in, that's a lot of damage. You know, we can roll for plus 600. We could roll for just below 500. But it's going to hit hard. And I'm trying to think, where is this Griller going to be? Is he going to be running... I feel like he was possibly running this way. But he's not. He's actually running that way. So we aim the shell in. And it loops. And we only do track damage to that Griller. But it just track him in place. Unfortunately, no one else quite gets a shot on him, but we're going to keep the HE loaded anyway, because I want to get some shots at this griller. Now there's a Brask. Unfortunately, he pens both shots at us there. We tried to loop the shell at him while we were going up and down over the ridgeline, but unfortunately, we went down the ridgeline just at the wrong moment. I could load AP right now and guarantee that I get another 400 damage. But I decide, you know what, no. I want to pen this Brask with HE, see what we can do. We want to meme it. We've ended up with 2.8k assistance because of this push in spotting the artillery and the griller and this Brask. We auto-aim the shot, but unfortunately we don't pen the Brask and we only do 160 damage. But it is what it is, and we still finished the game with a nice total in a tier 10 game. We finished with the victory, the 2 kills, 2.8k damage, 3.3k assistance. We ended up tracking the Brask. First class, 1742 base XP. I say another nice game for the Charlemagne in a tier 10 game. We weren't really under pressure by any of the tier 10s. We managed to stay on the flanks, and really that game as well showed what this gun is like at long range, because you could see the way that those shells were looping in. It's just painful when you're shooting at tanks at distance. You're going to miss a fair amount of shots purely because of the shell velocity, not because of the accuracy, although the accuracy is bad, not because of the aim time, purely because of the shell velocity. It will let you down over distance, and the amount of times that it'll loop and just hit the ground in front of people or go basically over people is crazy. So we're on the second game, third game even. I'm used to 2 games. So we're on the third game, and we're on El Halouf. Now I make a mistake here, and I drive too close to that ridgeline. I get spotted by the light tank, and I get smacked by whatever is back there. Now, I'm assuming it was the Talon that you're about to see on the left. I think it was him that got that shot into me. I don't know, but it hurt. It means we were 400 hit points down before we even got to the fight. Yeah, I made that mistake. I was just trying to get a shot into the light tank possibly, and I made that mistake by just going too close to that ridgeline. I shouldn't have done that, but it is what it is. We're on to 1,100 hit points. We've not even got to the fight. But we're going to try and get into this position up here at B23, because this is the perfect position for the tank. Again, like I say, hull down is what you've got to keep in mind. You need to be hull down in this tank. Because sure, you can ricochet shells off your upper plate. And the thing is, most people will be trained to think to shoot the lower plate, and the lower plate is a bait, because the way it's angled, they're actually more likely to bounce off you. Now, unfortunately, we end up doing track damage only on that atomic. The artillery just misses us, fortunately enough. Kind of unlucky to not do damage to that atomic, but he is just showing us his upper plate. And 504 again. Oh, those rolls, man, those rolls, they're delightful. Now there's this T26E5 on the left, and he's been aggressive and trying to pump shots into our guys. I unfortunately take a hit from the atomic, but I get a big slap into the Patriot. It was the unskinned Patriot, the T26E5. We get a bit lucky there that the IS-3 tried to pot shot us and missed. Now I pull forward, try and slam a shot into the atomic, but unfortunately bounce off his upper plate, which is really unfortunate. But now I'm just going to keep pulling back, because this IS-3 is being aggressive. Although now I'm reloaded, we get a shot straight through his lower plate for 450. Oof, it's a big hit. But now it's me alone, because the 2 medium tanks have ran away. It's me alone against the IS-3 and the unskinned Patriot. We get a big shot through the upper plate of the IS-3, but he also pens us by penning and tracking us. That is one thing, it does seem to get pen and tracked a lot, even from sort of slight angles. So just be careful of giving your people your drive wheel, or even a little bit of exposed drive wheel, because they might still pen and track you, which is obviously annoying. Now this Patriot is looking for a shot at us. Fortunately enough, he ends up missing. I pull back around the corner because I'm trying my best to bait him. I want him to be aggressive. I want him to come off his high horse, off his ridgeline, because that's where he's strong, and I don't want that. Now we pull round, we get a shot into the lower plate of the IS-3, and it's like, please don't pen me. Thankfully, he bounces. He hits the far side of our pike nose, and he ricochets away. Now there's the Talon and a T95E2 that have come round. The Talon bounces off us. We're going to try and get a shot into the Talon's drive wheel, but unfortunately it just misses and hits the floor. That's the derpy shell velocity and gun handling letting us down there. We're up to 2.2k damage, 389 assistance so far, and we're just going to try and get some more shots in. Now, unfortunately, that Talon manages to snap the shot into the tracks, As he pulls back over the ridgeline, leaves us on 23 hit points. We ricochet off his turret, which is a feat, to be honest, because the Talon's turret is poor. It's not got very good armour. And now we are looking for some shots into the Talon. Now, again, I'm hull down. I'm pretty confident of bouncing any shots from these guys. Now I'm hull down, because that T95E2 only has 173 pen. And the Talon has 175, or 217, which we've seen is firing APCR, so it's 217. So with me being hull down, I'm quite confident of bouncing shots off these guys. Now we see this T95E2's cupola. We're going to go for it. Bit of bad aim there. We kind of snap the aim a little bit too far to the left and miss. The Talon's pulling forward. We've just got to wait for this reload to go in, because we don't want to push too soon. And now he's coming over. We get a shot straight into his hull there. We put him on a one-shot for now for everyone. We're up to 2.6k damage and 1100 assistance. We're nearly reloaded again, and again, I know I can go hull down, pulling around this corner to get a shot into the Talon. There is the atomic here from earlier. We managed to slam the shot into his upper plate and finish him off. We're up to 2.8k damage now. And the Talon that was a bit of a pest for us earlier on has now been shut down too. So I'm going to see if I can get a shot into that guy, but I'm actually a bit wary that this T95E2 is going to pull around and get a shot in. Try and get a pixel shot into that guy's drive wheel, but it doesn't quite go in. Really unfortunate that didn't go in, but I say really unfortunate, really. It was a bit of a pixel shot, so it possibly wasn't that unfortunate. So now there's 3 tanks left. There's 3 tanks left on the enemy team. That's all that's left. There's a heavy tank, this T95E2 in front of us, and a tank destroyer. The tank destroyer is in their base. We know where the T95E2 is, and we're just going to go round on this guy. Now, I'm going to try and bait him to shoot the far side of my upper plate, which he does, like I say. I know he's got poor pen, so I know he's going to struggle to pen me. We get a nice shot into his upper plate. He's now distracted with the other guy. I'm about to reload, and we slap the shot in to finish him off. Now, there's only 1 tank left. It is that tank destroyer who is in their base, and we're not going to get anywhere near him. But that's the strength of the tank, because the hull armour is 220 effective on its upper plate, which is the weak spot, essentially, and the lower plate is 230. When you're facing tanks like a T95E2 or an IS-6, which will have 175 pen, 173 pen, they're not going to pen it, so you can be more aggressive against them. We finished that game with 3.6k damage, the 1600 base XP, and a bit of assistance. Another nice game for the tank. But yeah, know what you're facing, because if you're facing tanks that have less than 200 pen, they are really going to struggle with your frontal armour. And when you're facing the T90, like I said, the T95E2, I knew I could be aggressive against, as long as I didn't overexpose my drive wheel. I knew I could be aggressive. I knew I could bounce most shots he was going to fire at me, and I was going to get away with it, and I was going to be able to slam big shots into him. So, we're in the 4th replay, the final replay of the video. Well done if you've got this far. And this is a game where I best describe it as, how the hell did I survive? I don't know. This is what you call the incompetence of the enemy team, right? And the age-old rule of this game of take tanks out. Don't leave tanks alive, because a tank with 17 hit points can hit you for the same amount as a tank that has 1500 hit points, and it is definitely going to be one of those games. I don't know how I survived this game, but it is what it is, and we make the most of it, and we get a pretty nice game. So, we're on the heavy tank flank, on on steps, sorry, on steps, we're on the heavy tank flank. It is encounter, but I want to get into a hull down brawl, and that is again what the Charlemagne is built for. And we're fighting at a decent distance, and we're just going to stay hull down and keep trying to pump the shots in as fast as we can with this reload permitting. We're up to 843 damage. Unfortunately, the AMX-65T managed to pull around and get a shot into us. We get a nice shot into the T-44, and now we've got to pull back, because this AMX-65T is going to try and get some shots into us, and we don't want that. We really don't. He gets another shot into us, which is really unfortunate. He's whittling us down. We're up to 630 hit points. I was just checking to see there what the heavy tank was on my right, and I was thinking, wait, there's a heavy tank on my right. These guys are not afraid of it. And yeah, it's a tier 6, so they're not going to be. There is the T-32 on my left, who I was hoping to be hull down. He's not quite doing that at the minute, but he is a deterrent, which is nice. And we're just staying hull down. I'm hoping that this 65T will poke out and give me another shot. Because like I say, we slap, right? And if we hit him again, he's going to be a one-shot, and that's what we want. So he's just being very, very cautious at the minute. It's all about patience. He was being very cautious. He pulls out. And just as we were about to get a shot into the upper plate, that 65T, unfortunately the T32 pulled in front, blocked it, and then got finished off himself. Really unfortunate timing that, but it is what it is. Now I'm at the point where I'm thinking, well, I'm dead. I try and get a shot into the opposition Charlemagne. Unfortunately, it bounced off his turret. But now I'm pulling back into a position where I can stay hull down and get some shots in. The 65T is just fired, so I want to make sure I get this shell into his cupola. I'm just making sure, because every shot is going to count. We put him down to a one-shot. We end up ricocheting something off our side turret. We get hit there by, I believe, the 65T again, and we pull back behind this rock. Again, keeping ourselves behind cover and staying safe. We've got the shell in, and these guys, this is what I mean. These guys ignored me. They went for the Super Hellcat. They full ignored me. They should not have ignored me. They should have come to finish me off and then focused the Super Hellcat. I was the bigger threat, but they didn't. Now we've got this Tiger 1 in front of us, and we shut down the Tiger 1. And slowly but surely, we're whittling the odds of this game down from sheer death to, I possibly could live here. Now this T-44 pulls out in front. Finish him off. He's gone. Thankfully, he took a hit from one of the TDs at the back. And I'm just waiting for the reload to go in. There's a Tiger 2 on the left, which I'm a bit concerned about. I can't quite get a shot into that 110 yet because he's pulled back. This Tiger 2 isn't paying attention to me, so I pop a shot straight into his side. Like I say, this is tanks ignoring me. They are full-on ignoring me for everything else, which is not what they needed to do. They needed to get my gun out of the game, but they haven't managed that so far. So this Tiger 2, like I say, is full-on ignore. I don't know what this Tiger 2 is doing. We get a shot into him again, put him down to a one-shot for everyone. And I want to help the Super Hellcat out, but I kind of want to try and get rid of as much as I can. This 110's here. Now, there's awkward lip on this hill, which actually means that I couldn't quite get the gun depression. We go for a shot through his upper plate, which isn't going to work because we don't have that sort of pen. What I should have realised here, by the way, is that that guy is stock. He's got the 175 pen, 122mm gun. He's got the stock gun. I should have realised this because 175 pen is not penning me. But obviously if he loads the 250 heat, yeah, he'll butter me up. We get a nice shot into the back of him now. He's chasing the Super Hellcat. And I was kind of hoping that he would keep chasing, but he actually stops, which is really an unfortunate moment because it's like, okay, no. And this is where, again, I should have realised the man's got the stock gun because he's going to struggle to pen me and I don't have to be as cautious as I'm being. Unfortunately, I end up missing the shot on his cupola there, but it is what it is. He gets shut down by the Iron Rain. We're up to 4.6k damage and it's 4v4. They're all towards the cap, so it's like, okay, I need to get over there and I need to start putting shots in. But what I was thinking when I was doing this is like, oh, okay, I need to get up to that ridge line towards the cap, get under it and get some shots in. But then they kill the medium tank on the right, and it's kind of like, okay, I don't want to go straight towards that ridge line in front because that could be quite easily death. Because they could quite easily pop up all the way along the ridge line and get shots into me and I'd be gone. I'd be a goner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross the train tracks, get into a better hull down position. And if they attack us, which is what I'm kind of expecting them to do, because I believe the Iron Rain was spotted, and as you see, they're attacking here. I was expecting them to do this, and getting hull down here means that it's going to make it very awkward for them to be able to pen me, and I'm going to be able to stay hull down and stay safe. So now that Type 59-2's actually got shotters. I should have stayed there. I could have had that shot under that train track, but it is what it is. The Iron Rain gets to shut him down, which is nice. So that's one tank down. There's still 3 left. And it's like, where are they? We know where the Jagdpanther is. He's somewhere in front. And I'm thinking, I want to get to this ridgeline below his gun before he gets to me. Unfortunately enough, he snaps the shot in, hits my turret, which is not going to pen. Bounces, we snap our shot in on the move, finish him off, 4.8k damage. Now there's a general who fortunately misses his shot. We finish him off. The Charlemagne misses us somehow. And it's like, oh my god, how... This is at the moment I'm sort of head in hands going, how am I alive? I should have died. And of all the shots that I miss, that one that was mostly aimed on his upper plate misses the Charlemagne. Yeah, okay, yeah. We hit the shot on the Jagdpanther, missed that one on the Charlemagne. It's RNG saying, lol. But now that Charlemagne's fired, I know I've got the reload over him. We pop over, get the shot into his side for 439. And the Iron Rain manages to finish him off. We finished that game with a great total for a tier 8 and for the Charlemagne. Finished with 5 kills, 5.3k damage, 1000 blocked, ace tanker, the high caliber, 1934 base XP, a really great game for the Charlemagne. It's a tank that is it's a slugger, it's quite a fun brawler, but it does have a fair few drawbacks, like that shell velocity that doesn't help over range. It's okay. Is it worth the pickup? Well, I'll leave that one to you guys to decide. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!